Hammurabi, the sixth king of Babylon, is best remembered for his remarkable achievements in unifying Mesopotamia and creating one of the earliest and most comprehensive legal codes in human history. His reign, from 1792 to 1750 BCE, marked a turning point in the political, legal, and social life of Babylonia. The Code of Hammurabi stands as a testament to his vision, organizational skill, and commitment to justice and order. When Hammurabi ascended the throne, Babylon was a significant but not yet dominant power in Mesopotamia. The region was fragmented, with strong rivals such as Elam and Isin threatening Babylon's ambitions. Hammurabi's initial years were spent on internal reforms, military preparations, and temple construction. His first military campaigns, aimed at expanding his territory, faced setbacks, and for about 20 years he had to contend with the dominance of Elam and its allies. However, in the 30th year of his reign, Hammurabi launched a successful campaign, decisively defeating Elam and its allies, and bringing the entire region of Sumer and Akkad under his control. This victory allowed him to extend his influence westward into Syria and Palestine. The list of cities he aided, as recorded in the preface to his code, reflects the vastness and diversity of his empire. Hammurabi was not just a conqueror but also a skilled administrator and reformer who sought to unify his realm through law and governance. Hammurabi's greatest legacy is the Code of Hammurabi, a collection of 282 laws inscribed on a tall stone stele and displayed publicly in Babylon. This was done so that all could see, and at least among the literate, understand the laws of the land. The code was written in Akkadian, the everyday language of Babylonia, making it accessible to any literate person and symbolizing a shift from the older Sumerian traditions. The code actually covers a really wide range of topics. It deals with economic regulations like prices, tariffs, trade, and commerce. There's also family law, which includes marriage, divorce, and inheritance. Then, of course, you have criminal law, things like assault, theft, and even murder. Civil law is addressed too, with rules about slavery, debt, and contracts. And finally, there are provisions for labor and property issues. One striking feature of the code is the principle of an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, the Lex Talionis. This idea of proportional justice was really meant to make sure that punishments fit the crime and, importantly, to prevent excessive personal revenge. The code also introduced the Presumption of Innocence, which allowed both the accused and the accuser to present evidence. Honestly, this was a pretty significant step toward a more balanced and fair legal process. Some of the most important and memorable laws from Hammurabi's code really stand out, especially for their unique style and significance. One of these is known as the Law of Retaliation, or Lex Talionis. The code states, "If a man destroy the eye of another man, they shall destroy his eye. If one break a man's bone, they shall break his bone." This principle of an eye for an eye established proportional justice, making sure that punishments actually match the crime. Another significant law deals with false accusation. The code says if anyone ensnare another, putting a ban upon him, but he cannot prove it, then he that ensnared him shall be put to death. So this law protected people against false charges by imposing the death penalty on accusers who failed to prove their claims. Adultery was also addressed with, honestly, a pretty harsh punishment. The code reads, "If a man's wife be surprised with another man, both shall be tied and thrown into the water, but the husband may pardon his wife and the king his slaves." This kind of severe response reflected just how important marital fidelity and social order were in Hammurabi's time. If a builder builds a house for someone and does not make its construction firm, and the house which he built falls in and kills its owner, then that builder shall be put to death. This law held builders strictly accountable for the safety of their constructions, emphasizing responsibility. If a man sets his face to disinherit his son and says to the judges, "I will disinherit my son," the judges shall inquire into his record, and if the son has not committed a crime sufficiently grave to cut him off from sonship, the father may not cut off his son from sonship. This protected sons from unjust disinheritance, ensuring fairness in family matters. These laws are notable for their clear if-then format, their blend of strict justice with social order, and their influence on later legal systems. So, why are these laws so memorable? Well, it's really the clarity and directness of the laws that make them easy to remember. The harshness and severity of the punishments are honestly pretty striking, especially when you compare them to modern legal systems. There's also the whole idea of proportional justice, where punishments actually match the crime, and that was both new and influential at the time. Plus, these laws, they cover all aspects of life, from family and business to agriculture and medicine. These laws, give us a really vivid picture of how justice and order were maintained in ancient Babylon. That's actually one of the big reasons why Hammurabi's code is still studied and remembered today. Before Hammurabi, Babylonian society relied on a mix of customary laws and, honestly, pretty arbitrary rulings. But Hammurabi's code formalized and standardized the legal system, giving judges a clear, written set of laws to follow. This, in turn, reduced the arbitrary use of power by officials and brought about a sense of uniformity and predictability in the administration of justice. The code's public display meant that, in theory, everyone was aware of the laws and the consequences for breaking them. This transparency helped to create a sense of order and accountability within society. The code reinforced social hierarchies by prescribing different penalties for the same offense depending on the social status of the individuals involved. For example, harming a nobleman was punished more severely than harming a commoner or a slave. While this system embedded inequality, it also formalized class distinctions and provided a structured order that contributed to stability. Despite its harshness, the code included protections for the weak and vulnerable, such as widows, orphans, and slaves. Some laws limited the exploitation of slaves and offered certain rights, like the eventual freedom of debt slaves after a set period. Hammurabi's code had a profound effect on the economic life of Babylonia. It regulated trade, property rights, loans, and labor relations. By providing legal clarity and protecting property rights and contracts, the code encouraged commerce and economic development. Regulations on agriculture, such as irrigation and land use, helped ensure the stability and productivity of the economy. The code reflected and promoted the moral and ethical values of Babylonian society. Laws against false accusations, perjury, and cheating emphasized the importance of honesty and integrity. The principle of proportional punishment was designed not only to deter crime but also to prevent cycles of personal revenge and blood feuds, shifting the responsibility for justice from individuals to the state. Hammurabi established royal courts independent of temples and priests, with judges appointed by the king. To prevent abuse of power, respected elders sat with judges, and Hammurabi himself monitored judicial proceedings. Citizens could appeal decisions to higher courts, and ultimately to the king, ensuring a system of checks and balances. The code was known for its strict and often harsh punishments. Many crimes, including theft, adultery, and certain forms of negligence, could result in death or severe physical penalties. However, in some cases, the code allowed for monetary compensation instead of physical punishment, especially when the parties involved were of lower social status. So, the Code of Hammurabi is not actually the oldest law code, but it's definitely the most complete and influential from ancient Mesopotamia. It inspired later legal systems in the region and became, a symbol of the importance of law in maintaining social order. The code's influence can be seen in subsequent civilizations, and is often cited as a foundational document in the history of law and governance. Hammurabi's legacy endures not only because of his military and administrative achievements, but also because he recognized the power of law to unify diverse peoples, maintain order, and promote justice. His code remains a powerful symbol of the enduring quest for justice and the rule of law in human society. Hammurabi's code was, honestly, a revolutionary achievement that shaped the legal, social, and economic life of Babylonia. It brought order, stability, and predictability to a complex and diverse society. By formalizing laws, reinforcing social structures, regulating economic activity, and promoting moral values, Hammurabi's code left a profound and lasting impact, not only on Babylonia but on the development of law and civilization itself.